I think this tent might be a little too small for someone who's over 6 feet tall. You're gonna have a hard time with your feet. Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Casey, and today we are gonna be reviewing one of the newest tents on the market. This is the thinnest, lightest, hard shell aluminum wedge rooftop tent that just came out from Alu-Cab. This is the LT-50. It weighs 100 pounds. It's 6 inches tall, and it is a bare bones hard shell aluminum tent that I've been really interested in checking out. So today we're gonna get this out of the box. We're gonna get it set up. I've got to put a rack on my Wrangler. We're gonna put the Metalcloak Adventure rack back on there and get this on there and set up. I have no affiliation with Alu-Cab whatsoever, or the company that I got this from. I paid 100% full retail. I had to buy all the extras, so I'm gonna give you guys my straight up honest opinion, what I think of this tent, how I like it, and give you guys like a full rundown and walkthrough of this. So I'm gonna get the Adventure Rack system set up on the Jeep. First part of all of what I'm doing is getting the Wrangler ready for the Rubicon Trail that I'm gonna be heading out to in a couple of weeks. We're gonna be taking this tent with us. And so that's a good reminder, guys. We're really trying to hit 100,000 subscribers on the channel. I could use your help. Hit that subscribe button, I appreciate it a ton. And let's get that rack on the Jeep, get this out of the box, and see what this crazy rooftop tent is all about. I'm super excited to see it. I haven't seen it at all, as you can see. It's still in the box. This week's video does have a sponsor. It is brought to you by Reolink. Reolink is an awesome home security company. Look at this, we've got a full security display here behind us now. I have some of their cameras set up out on the front of my house, on the front of the yard. They have these really cool 180-degree cameras with 2 4K cameras on them that give a full 180-degree view at high resolution. As well, they have several other different 4K cameras, wireless cameras, battery-powered cameras, 4G LTE cameras, and then you can either use them standalone, on Wi-Fi, wired, or send them all back to a DVR system like we have. I'm really happy with the camera setup that we added to help keep an eye on the Jeeps out in the driveway and people coming and going at the house. So do me a favor, check out Reolink. I appreciate it. And if you need some home security and cameras at your house, give them a shot. Before we get this installed, I wanted to go over some of the extras that I ordered with this. The rooftop tent does not come with a ladder or mounting hardware. So I ordered the mounting hardware kit from Alu-Cab. Show you just what comes in the hardware kit. And then when we get the tent unboxed, we'll see what else is in there. Here is our ladder. It does have the bracketry to mount the receiving side of the ladder to wherever you want on the tent, which is nice. It has the angled steps. So you can see the ladder's on an angle and the steps are now flat. This makes climbing in and out of your tent a lot easier on the feet. The ladder is extra, by the way. You do have to purchase the ladder in addition to the tent. I'll put on screen the additional cost of the ladder. The other thing that comes with the ladder is this nice full-size ladder bag, which is great. Quite often when you're out camping in wet or rain or on the beach, your ladder will get dirty, you'll get mud and crap on it. We can put our entire ladder inside the bag to keep our Jeep a little bit more tidy. All right, we've got the Adventure X system on the Jeep. Let's get the tent out of here. Now I'm trying to figure out the best way to unbox this because it says this side's up, but obviously one side has the rails, one side has the top. Yep, we got it. We got it the right way. This is all aluminum. It's got like a very light textured black coating on it. And then we've got these mounting rails for, I guess there's a metal molly plate that we can put on the top of this, but I did not order it because it was like $500. Fairly narrow. It tapers in at the front. Let me grab a tape measure. End to end, we're 86.5 inches plus the hinges. And then on the narrow side here, we're at 42.5 inches. So this is sort of like a bit of a diamond shape. And then on this side here, we're at 6.5 inches. Super low profile. It's probably gonna be less height on top of the rack than the rack is over the soft top. We've put this up on some sawhorses so we can get a better look at the underneath of this. Got the latches, which use these cotter pins we can pull out, but I guess we could also put a lock in here if we wanted to lock anybody out from coming along and messing with us. So we've got a mount for a ladder possibly here. I'm guessing we can move this to the side because we've got T-track all along the outside of this. We've got the gas struts on the outside, not on the inside, but this is super thin, this tent. Pretty basic underneath. We've got a couple of T-tracks. I don't know if I really needed all that mounting kit because I think we could just use a couple bolts in here. Okay, after some deliberation and trying to figure out how to mount this, I'm gonna go with the standard running the bolts through the T-track and a couple aluminum straps to hold it on. I'll show you once we've got it on the Jeep here. These I think are gonna be good for a situation where we want to mount it to like a rhino rack maybe. So I'm not sure if buying this hardware kit was worth it because I think it was like $100 or $150, and essentially we used eight bolts out of this bag here and didn't use any of the other hardware. So we've got these, and these are just going to go on the rails like this, and we'll put bolts into the T-channel, slide these in here like that. We'll just strap that on. After the Rubicon, I think I'm going to switch to a hardtop and give that a try and see if we can get like a rhino rack backbone on there and mount this super flush. This rooftop tent is super low, 6.5 inches, but it's also got this cool kind of diamond design, which I think will look really neat on the roof of the Jeep. This is supposed to be for 2 adults. It would definitely be cozy with 2 adults. And I'm 6'2", so we'll see how it goes with the length of this. But let's get it up on the Jeep and then we'll do a walkthrough of the rest of this tent.
There you go.
Well, that was a lot easier to put on because it's only 100 pounds. Way easier putting that on than some of these heavier tents like the Roof Nest Condor Overland over there is 170 pounds. It's super heavy. Okay, we got the tent up here. It's super low profile, but I have the older rails on my Adventure X system. They have a new low mounting system, which would let us bolt the tent right to the rails and keep it flush with the, we'd mount it basically flush right on these. So we're actually gaining an extra couple inches out of this. Looks a bit like a top hat with those sides. Now I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do for the ladder, because it comes with this bracket mounted on here. Got another bracket already on there. So I don't think we need both brackets.
Oh, it came with one.
We have another bracket. So we could actually leave the bracket that came on it on the back in case we ever want to put the ladder there. But what we need to do is see if this is gonna fit without their ladder extension. That's as tall as this ladder goes. Well, that's a problem. So we've hit a snag. How do we get into the rooftop tent with this ladder that is made for not Jeeps? So we just hang it on there.
Yeah.
Well, that's a disappointing $250 ladder. Well then, I'm gonna think about this for a second, guys. All right, so it seems my review got a little bit derailed with my inability to do math. I ordered the 2-meter ladder that we have right here, not really thinking that's only 6 feet. And well, I'm 6'2", so you can imagine the ladder is only about this tall. The tent is sitting at about 7 feet on the Jeep. So after a week of waiting, I now have the 2.6 meter ladder, which if we do some rough math, that should be about 8 feet, which is now plenty for the tent. Alu-Cab LT-50 doesn't come with a ladder at all. So on their site, the 2-meter ladder is the one that they say is for this tent, and the 2.6-meter ladder isn't the ladder they say is for this tent. It's for the other Alu-Cab tent. I forget the model name, but it's the bigger, more expensive one. However, this one does work just fine with this tent, mostly. So if it was another $75 on top of the $250 I already paid for the 2 meter ladder, so I'm gonna have to try to return that. So this was $350 Canadian. You can see a bit of a difference here with this ladder. We've actually got these extended pieces for the lower steps. Here's a good look here. Let me turn it around. So you've got a larger foot platform to step on, and it's on several of these rungs. These are completely flat. They're not really angled. So you get more surface for your foot to be put down on, but they didn't angle them at all. So when your ladder is on your rooftop tent like that, they're actually angled down. So it's a little weird walking up. I don't know why they would go through all the effort to put these on and not make them at a little bit of an angle. I put the mount that came with it on the side of the tent, and it's kind of a unique little mounting system they use. And then we've got another mount on the back. The only caveat with this ladder was the hardware that came with the ladder to mount onto here doesn't actually slide into any of the T-tracks on this tent, so I had to go get a couple other bolts to use to attach this. But let me show you how this ladder connects, because it's kind of cool. Now you may notice I've moved this rail back a little bit so that I could get the ladder down and still be able to open and close my door. So the big reason why I want to try a wedge tent out, because not only is this only 6.5 inches tall and 100 pounds, is it's a lot easier and quicker to open and close. So we should be able to just pop that latch, pop this latch open, and up we go. And then we just pull this bungee down here that's holding the material in place, and we've got our tent. So all the windows are currently open. I don't know where to store this handle here. This handle's for pulling it back down. So we've got our 3 windows here. Get these out of the way. Now, the thing with this is all the windows are they open across the top and they don't open on the bottom. So I guess when we climb in through the ladder, we have to climb in over this ladder or window. I guess could be kind of annoying if this is soaking wet, because this isn't a lot of space for our bedding. I'll show you in a second. Because otherwise you gotta just kind of scrunch it up and climb over it. I don't know. I guess there isn't really a perfect way to design these windows and doors, but we have our memory foam mattress in here. I think this is 2¼ inch. It's softer. You can see how easy it is to squish. It's not one of those really rigid mattresses like I have in the roof nest. And then underneath we have, looks like a foam layer. It's not like one of those mesh, or not like, well, there's the roof, anti-condensation mats underneath. It's just a piece of very thin black foam, and then below that is just the aluminum underneath part, the aluminum shell. So I guess let me climb up the ladder. I want to take a look at the top, and we'll have a look at all the material. This feels almost exactly the same material as I have on the roof nest. It's thick. It looks like a blackout material. I don't see much light coming through. So you can get an extension to push out the ladder a little bit, depending on how you have this mounted. That might be a good idea, because my ladder here, we can pull it out a little bit, but it is kind of hitting the roof. And if you had this any lower, it would hit the roof. Like if you had this mounted on your hardtop, because the tent is so narrow, it doesn't extend very close to the side. So you'd either have to push it to one side or get the ladder extension that pushes it out a few inches away from the side of the tent, clear the side of your roof. But because this is up a little bit higher, and we're stepping on these rungs that are now at like a 45-degree angle, so it's actually kind of weird on the feet. I wish they were curved a little bit. We've got these, looks like stainless steel gas struts on the outside here. I believe this is rated for 30 kilograms or 60 pounds to put on the roof. And then you can get that molly panel that goes across here if you want to mount your ladder to it. You can't store your ladder inside this. There's not enough room according to their documentation. And then the tent material is all riveted on. So if you ever had to replace the tent material, that would be quite a chore. So I guess when this is raining, we just do our best not to get water in. The other thing I was just thinking about, which is more frequent than dealing with rain, is bugs. On my other tent, the roof nest, or any of my other tents, I would zip the smallest hole possible around the bottom and side and try to slide in before any of the bugs got in here. Where to get into this, the only way to get in is going to be to fully open the door, because you'll need to be able to pull it down and climb over it. So something to think about. So I'm sitting here near the back of this, and you can see how close my head is to the roof, which is something to note. This material on here is it's like the anti-condensation mats that you see under a lot of mattresses, because this is an aluminum roof. And I know some other rooftop tents have big issues with condensation on the wedge tents accumulating and running down onto your feet in your sleeping bag. So this has, it's like a fabric and a little bit of insulation on here. And it's like a honeycomb, it's like a jersey. And so I'm gonna guess this is gonna really cut down on condensation accumulating on the top of this, and add a little bit of insulation, because there is a bit of squish here. So that'll be nice in maybe the winter months. On the sides, yeah, like this is definitely blackout material. We have 2 layers here. We have 2 layers right here. Condensation should accumulate on the outer layer and not on the inside of the tent. So that's neat. And then we've got some just straps. I guess we can hang stuff as needed that are attached to the wall on the inside. There's nowhere on the roof to mount anything like a light. So that would have been kind of handy, or even a strap up a little bit higher that we could mount a light when we're in here. So there's nowhere to mount a light. So the mattress in this tent is, the sleeping area is 42.5 inches wide, 3.5 feet by 81.5 inches in length. Now that was kind of what I was going off of, and kind of comparing it to the GFC rooftop tents that I've seen, which are 50 by 90. I don't think that's going to be critical. It would be nice to have a little bit more space up here for when I put my gear bag up here, because this is basically the size of a single bed. So this though is 8.5 inches shorter than like a GFC. I bring that up because that's the other ultra light, ultra thin rooftop tent. This is 27 pounds lighter than the GFC. But what I wasn't thinking about was how much difference that would make with your feet. So if I'm laying down here with my head right at the wall, and keep in mind I'm 6'2", this is where my feet are. And so if I was a back sleeper, here I am laying down. Actually, I'm actually outside the tent at the moment. So if I was a back sleeper with my tent right here, my feet are smashed against the roof of the tent. Now, I'm not a back sleeper, so that won't be as much of an issue, but there really isn't a lot of room when I'm sleeping on my side for my feet, especially because I'm going to add my little air mattress to this. Although this is more comfortable than the other mattress in my other tent. I don't feel like I'm bottoming out, and it's not super rigid like the other mattresses that are like a board. But if you're any taller than 6'2", you're gonna have a hard time with your feet. Or if you're a back sleeper, you know, you want to be under 6 feet to be a back sleeper and have room for your feet here. Enough about my feet, but something I noticed when we're opening this, which I think is a good feature, and I would like to see this style of window in all rooftop tents. The screen in the window is coming up at the same time, which I think is great. We don't have to open 2 different zippers to open any of our doors, which is nice, right? Because we can open our door just by opening the main zipper, which brings the screen down as well. But if we want to have our screen up, we can just undo the second zipper and have that. Once we're in here, I never have to open the screens unless I want to go in and out. My secondary complaint is that the only way to go in and out is I've got to open this all the way to the bottom to be able to climb over it. When you put this window down, this window is going to be soaking wet coming into your tent. What I would do is, well, just roll this up. But there is no system in here for holding your material when you roll it up. So I guess just roll it up and kind of jam it next to the mattress along the bottom. I did notice that we had this little bag of some gear inside. A pen, welcome to the family. A patch, a key tag. I wouldn't really say this is gear, this is more like promotional products so that more people can see your brand. And if you're wondering what I just filled up my air mattress with, this is a little tiny pump from a company named Flextail, which is super handy. And it also has a flashlight on it that you can use, which is kind of slick. I'll throw one of these down in the description below if you want to take a look at grab one of these cool little pumps. I just want to point out something else that I've been noticing as I climb in and out of this a few times. This has quite a high metal ridge for the basin or lower half of this tent, and it keeps whacking me in the shins because you can see how much higher it sticks up above the mattress. So every time I climb in and out, I'm hitting my shins on this, which is a little bit annoying. The other thing I wanted to mention while I'm up here is this doesn't have any ports for HVAC. So whether you're using a diesel heater or an air conditioner, there are no pass-throughs to put a hose in here from your, more likely for me, a diesel heater in the winter cold months, which is something I kind of expect to see on any rooftop tent coming out now. To me, it just seems like something that should be on every tent now. The bigger Alu-Cab does have that. But anyways, we got our bedding in here. So you can kind of get an idea of how much space you have beside your bed. So this is a 30 by 80 thermarest. So if you're going to bring your pack or something like that in here, which I generally do, so that I have clothes in the morning, there's definitely not enough room for a large bag in here next to your sleeping bag. Probably have enough room to haul a portable battery system up here, because you could put a smaller EcoFlow up here and power some stuff. And then the other thing too is even if you want to run cords, so as we mentioned with the pass-through, there's no HVAC pass-through, which also means there's nowhere to run cords. So what I would have to do is leave this open just a smidge. So definitely less space to maneuver. I need to pretty much sit at the far end of this, otherwise I'm hitting my head. My legs aren't fully out and they're hitting the roof of this tent, sleeping on my side with this air bed. What if I think we can let a bit of air out of here, because we do have quite a comfortable foam mattress underneath. So I'd be sleeping basically with my head against one end, my feet down this end here. That's how I'd be sleeping in my sleeping bag. I suppose I could take the foam out and sleep right on my airbed, because I can pretty much sleep on this airbed on something that's solid. Wonder if that's a good idea or not. It would give me more room to store stuff in here, but I'm gonna have to think about that. So I'm gonna have to sleep on the Rubicon Trail with my head right against the top. I can't stack my feet on top of each other when I'm in here. And it does narrow as we get towards the foot area, so less room for my bag, but I guess I could lean my bag up against the edge. There'd be enough room for that. But, you know, in the morning, if you're laying in bed, put your pillow up. All right, so this would be my wake up in the morning and just chilling with my head up. Yeah, still don't have enough room for my feet, so I don't know, guys. I think this tent might be a little too small for someone who's over 6 feet tall if you want to spend any time in here. Now, as far as water and stuff getting in here when it's closed, we just had like a major monsoon rainstorm, and I checked all the corners. It's super dry. I don't know what that's going to be like driving rain into the seams of this. but I would expect it would be fine. However, some people have talked about previous versions of Alu-Cab wedge tents, the larger ones, actually leaking water in the tent when they have it sitting in their driveway for too long. So that's something I'm gonna have to keep an eye on. I'll open this up periodically, but. Okay, so this is how I've set my bedding up. I've taken the pillow out because I just don't think that's gonna work. Okay, let's close this up and see how it does with everything in there. But it's certainly airtight as well, because this is really hard to close with all the windows closed up, trying to get the air out of there. That's with this window wide open. So I got it closed. Air mattress fully deflated, pushed it forward. I thought it was bowing the tent a little bit, but that's just the design. I measured it closed and opened, and it's definitely tighter down this end. The gap gets a little bigger as you go, but I think that's just the design of this, because the hinges down the other end actually put more of a gap in the tent than where the latches are. I think I'm gonna take out the foam mattress and see what it's like with my thermarest in there, because that is a pretty comfortable mattress. You can sleep on the ground with that. And that would give me a ton of space to store my gear in there. But it is gonna make that ridge that's bashing my shins taller, and I'm gonna have to climb over it. But I think I can mostly avoid that. It's too bad they didn't make the tent 3 or 4 inches longer. That would give it a little bit more room for us who are over 6 feet. For 2 people, it's definitely gonna be a snug fit. It's not very wide for 2 people. So this is definitely gonna be just me only in this tent. Pretty minimal room for gear up there. The build quality seems quite nice, other than, you know, that design feature with the high ridge going around the edge that's whacking me in the shins. Construction seems really good. It's nice to see that anti-condensation mat across the aluminum top, so you don't get water accumulating on the metal and dripping down on you. As far as price goes, this is Canadian, $3,800 shipped to my door plus taxes, no extra shipping. But I did have to pay $350 plus tax for a ladder, so that kind of puts it at around $4,200 plus tax. The upgraded version, which I think is the U3R now, but for $6,200, so another $2,000, you get the bigger Alu-Cab, which has more features like HVAC and wire pass-through in it. It has pass-through on the top, so you can run cables for solar panels. It does weigh another 60 pounds, but I think that would definitely be worth it to get those features and that more space. So it is wider. I think it's another 10 inches wider. It's longer as well. So I'm gonna think a lot about that. I feel like for me, it's gonna be a little bit small, but this is a good space if you're a little smaller, or maybe you don't have a big Jeep, you want a smaller, lighter tent. I think it's a good tent, but it definitely has some limitations. And at the price point it's at, there's a lot of competition in that $4,000 Canadian space. So other tents to consider, competition to this tent, in my opinion, I think the most direct competition is the GFC rooftop tent. It's a little bit heavier. It's 137 pounds instead of 100 pounds plus 10 pounds for the mattress. So you've got another 27 pounds on there. But I think the cost for the GFCs is really sets them apart because I just looked this up. This tent here, the Alu-Cab, is $2,700 US plus ladder at your US retailers. I couldn't find a Canadian price for the GFC, so I want something to directly compare. The GFC is $39.99 US, and that's pickup only, and they charge $750 for shipping if you want that shipped into the US. For me up here in Canada, it's really hard to get GFC products brought up, where I can get this at local retailers, shipped to my door, free shipping. But the GFC is 50 inches wide, so you're gaining an extra 7.5 inches and an extra 8.5 inches of length. Do your research if you're looking at a GFC. There are some nuances to it as well. And I think the other one that I would look at is the Roofnest Falcon. I think Roofnest also makes quality products. I've been running the Condor Overland for 1.5 years, and it's been pretty solid. Couple little nuances with that as well, but take a look at Roofnest, GFC, and Alu-Cab, and I'm gonna test this on the Rubicon and see what I think. But I feel like long term, this is not going to be my tent. So I'll probably look at selling this after the Rubicon. But I would like to try out the larger Alu-Cab because I hear a lot of really good things about that. And maybe I'll look at some other tents here in the future. So if you want to help support me, do me a huge favor. Check out some of the links down in the description below. There are several companies like Epic Adventure Outfitters and White Rock Dodge and Metalcloak that just really support the channel and making content. And if you can show them some support, that would mean a whole lot to me. And if you want to support me over on Patreon, I upload every week behind the scenes, what's going on. Sometimes I give stuff away that I just am not using anymore or auction it off for charity. I'll put a link to my Patreon down in the description as well if you want to check that out. Let me know if you have any questions. Leave them down in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer them. Please leave a like. It also really helps these videos get noticed on YouTube and get sent out to more people so they can be helpful to them as well. And subscribe if you're not already because I upload every week. I'll see you guys next week in the next video.